put that question to my guests who are joining me this evening. Rajat Sethi is an author. He's an economist as well. Rami Desai is an author. She's a political analyst. Both of them know Manipur very, very well. Mr. Sethi, I'm coming to you first. Do you think today's order will help calm down tempers in Manipur or inflame them? Because the Meiteis and the Kukis in the state have been in a virtual state of war. Will the Meiteis turn around and say, this is injustice? We will not let this pass?
Well, I think, no, you're right. The High Court, the Honorable High Court of Manipur never had the locus standi to come in and comment on the scheduled tribe status for the Meiteis. The demand, legitimate or not legitimate, is something that decided by the National Commission of Scheduled Tribes, which has a laid down prescribed way of reaching to a conclusion whether a tribe, whether a community is eligible to be qualified under the scheduled tribe status. Therefore, the High Court, by the way, I mean, there is a misreading of the High Court order back in the month of April as well. High Court merely said that there is an old 10-year-old pending order and it needs to be reconsidered by the government. High Court did not necessarily pass in the order, but even that, for that matter of fact, even that should not have been said by the High Court because it was beyond its locus. This is the reason why the Supreme Court had to step in and wrap the High Court and tell them that this is not your place. Now, having said that, what repercussions is it going to have in the current scenario? In my view, people have largely sort of understood that if at all a demand has to be placed to demand an ST status, then the courts are not the right platform. They will have to present the right data points, etc., before the required committees. That understanding is there. So I don't believe that people would be, or the Meiteis would be enraged by this current ruling of the High Court.
Okay, but will it help calm down the situation? Now, yes, the situation, it's not as bad as it was 6 months ago or 5 months ago or even 4 months ago. Things have calmed down, but there are sporadic incidents of violence. There are more and more deaths that are being reported, not every day, but we see some deaths being reported almost every week, 10 days. Rami Desai, in that context, do you see the High Court's course correction, as it were? It's coming too late in the day. I mean, it is coming after 9 months of violence. But do you think the court's course correction will help calm down the situation in Manipur? Or are the battle lines so deeply drawn कि आप बस दोनों groups एक दूसरे के खून के प्यासे हैं? And nothing that is said at this point of time will make a difference to what is happening on the ground.
Sure, first of all, good evening. Let me begin by saying that we are debating something that may not be accurate. See, it's section 17.3 that has been struck out. Now, what does it say? Please give me a minute here. It says the first respondent shall consider the case of the petitioners for inclusion of the Meiteis community in the scheduled tribe list. Within a period of 4 weeks from the date of receipt of a copy of this order in terms of the amendment set out in the writ petition. Now, point 3 of the order has been struck off, meaning that the state government is now under no obligation to send the recommendation within 2 weeks, which was later amended to 1 year by the central government. So the only change that has happened is there's no time restraint. And of course, the original position of exercising discretion to send the recommendation for the inclusion still remains. So, the government needs to reply. Now, the High Court, as we know, maybe should not have sent the recommendation because actually it's the state government that sends the recommendation. It not only goes to the NCST, but it also, the TRI also has a say in it. It goes through many levels of processes and you can counter it as well, like in the case of the Banjaras, where the case has been in the courts for the last 20 years. So this is really, with all due respect, this is really a little bit of a hullabaloo around nothing. This isn't going to change anything. In terms of that, the Meiteis still have a right to demand for scheduled tribe status. That is their right. And that recommendation will go by the state government. So it doesn't matter what happens here, number one. Number two.
So Rami, can I just interrupt you here?
Yes, please.
Can I just interrupt you here because you make an important point and I just want to stay with this point for a bit. What you are telling me is that essentially most of us in the press have misread what the High Court has said. The High Court has, yes, expunged the part where it had asked the state government to reconsider actually the scheduled tribe tag for Meiteis and respond to them within 4 months, right? This is what the High Court had said. So my understanding is that this part has been expunged. Why are you saying that this will not amount to much, that there is a reading? Could you explain it to me and my viewers?
See, point 3 is talking about the time within which the recommendation has to be made. Right now, that has been expunged.
Yes.
Now, having said that, anyway, the High Court doesn't decide who gets scheduled tribe status or who doesn't. The procedure is that the state government will recommend it. It will go through various levels of verification to check whether that demand can be passed or not. It will go through National Commission of Scheduled Tribes. It will go through Tribal Research Institute. On many occasions, there's been the Tata Institute of Social Sciences also that has given its recommendations. So it goes through multiple levels. So anybody who belongs to a tribal body will also say the same thing, that, whether they expunge point 3 or not makes no difference. Either side of the party will say that, Shreya. Now the point comes, what is the process of inclusion of scheduled tribe status? You have to fulfill the criteria of who a scheduled tribe is. Many a time, Shreya, it's like the Hutties. Many a times, communities that don't fulfill the exact criteria of what is laid down as, an umbrella term of under what scheduled tribes consist on, have been added at the discretion of these organizations. The process is completely different. As you would agree, and you've said also, the Supreme Court has said also, that HC has no business here recommending, And if you look at the point 3, read it, and I'm sure you have, it talks about the time barrier. Now, whether it will, bring peace to the state or not, I don't think, I anyway don't think that this was the only reason why the conflict started. I think, it's a multi-layered situation. There are many, many other reasons. We'll have to have a larger view of that.